Hello and welcome to Glen Ives Craft Design. My name is Chastity Ives, bringing you another video, this time with a Simon Says stamp and collaboration with AALL. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but did a lot of ink smushing. I was trying to use this plastic that's just from the stamp set I got, and because I wanted the distress ink or the distress oxide ink to bead up and then smush the paper on to said plastic. I did that because I forgot I got the Tim Holtz mat here specifically for ink smushing. So anyway, I did away with the plastic, but I just wanted to show that because you can use that instead of this mat. So the two inks I've started out with are Shaded Violet and Mustard Seed. This one is Worn Lipstick, and just patted those ink pads onto the mat, spritzed it with water, and then took my watercolor piece of paper and just smushed that ink into my paper, letting it dry in between every ink smush. And then the last color I used was I believe it was Peacock Feathers. I'm pretty sure it was. And this turned out really vibrant. This background because I wanted bright colors. Looking at the packaging that this came in, it was super bright, and it just turned out perfect. So needless to say, I cut these down to 4¼ by 5½ because I wasn't quite sure what size card I was going to make, and if I wanted it to make up the entire card front or if I was going to cut it down. So I took out this Tim Holtz Crackle background stamp, and I just stamped that with smoke ink, and I used specifically the premium dye ink, so then that way the colors wouldn't run. Then I put these card fronts in my MISTI, and I took out the truck as well as the tree, or the half tree, I guess, and lined up those to where sort of a perspective sort of look. That's what I was going for, at least. The tree being on the left takes up the entire left side of the card front, and then the truck is sort of not in line with the tree, but behind it, sort of, if you were to, really think about it, I guess. But yeah, just ink that up with my intense black ink. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but I did all of this on watercolor paper. So then that way it was sturdy and could take all of the water that I ended up using for those distress inks. And I really love how these came out, these card fronts. And it's so fun doing the ink smushing because you could use the same colors. And this was obviously one piece of paper that I cut down to an A2 size, but yet they look so different between one another. At least the ink backgrounds look completely different, and that's sort of fun, and keeps it interesting. And I get 2 cards out of it rather than just one, so for the win, But after that, then I took my card fronts out of or no, I didn't actually. I forgot I put presents on top of the truck, because without that, it sort of just looked like a trunk or a truck in front of a tree or behind a tree. So I wanted, because these are Christmas cards, I I put the presents on the top of the truck, just to, like, hey, Santa is driving a truck rather than has a bag or a sleigh, that he brings your presents in. Then I took out some colored pencils and just sort of went in with black, as well as a couple other colors you'll see, but I didn't use those colors too much because I wanted to not give depth and dimension, that's not the right word, but just added texture slash perspective or shadows to the ground as well as the truck, for example, because it looked pretty flat where it was, and just adding that colored pencil in, shading and bringing life to certain parts of my card really just sort of takes it to the next level a little bit. Um, the and I didn't push too hard on that colored pencil. In some areas I did, you can clearly see, but I like the tires and the around the lights. But essentially, I was just going for shading. Um, and yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. I mean, the the cards ended up being beautiful. It took me a while to figure out which one I was gonna do, which stamp. I mean, I off camera I colored the duck and the Noel, um, on a just scrap piece of paper and colored those in, and that was quite fun and sort of just for me, um, for a relaxing sort of evening activity I did. Especially after a stressful week of work and whatnot. It's always nice to just sit back and relax and just do a little bit. You can see I started with the tree and then decided, I'm not going to do it. Then after that, I heat embossed Simon's Stamp white ink or white embossing powder, using a clear embossing ink, and then took out my glitter pen here and I stamped that on the black paper, and then the added shimmer of this pen really just gives some sort of flair to the cards, because I mean the backgrounds are already so rainbow that this added black piece of paper, with the Noel word and the glitter really will make just it sort of stand out. So as those were drying, I cut down my card fronts to smaller than an A2 size, then took out some black cardstock and then just put dot runner on the back of the card front because they were watercolor, so they are a little warped, and I wanted the black for additional stability as well as a frame around the card front. So then from there, I put Simon Says Stamp Big Mama foam tape on the back, and then wrapped just some black baker's twine around the card front and tied those in a bow just so I could, you know, add something because these were I mean, they're a little flat, but like, I don't know. The bow just gives it that extra bit of flair, I guess. And another visual aid to draw your eye to. So after a little fiddling, I got those adhered to the card bases, and the card bases I didn't put any sentiments on. Um, that's kind of been my mood lately, is not adding a sub sentiment to the inside. So after I got the bows on and the card fronts adhered to the card bases, I cut out the Noel block letters, and I don't have the die set for this, so I just fussy cut it, and I mean it's not too hard. I mean it's just squares and rectangles, and then I propped those up on some black foam squares. I don't know why I put this card base on that other on that other Noel cutout. I saw this footage back and I was like, why did I do that? That was weird. Anyways, then just I centered those in the card as best I could, and that finished off these cards. And they turned out wonderful. They're cute, they're vibrant Christmas cards, non-traditional, and they are just beautiful. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.